Hey everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Master Race Debater Season 3. I'm doing a bit of a cold open because I wanted to talk about the Covington school issue that happened in Washington with Mr. Phillips and that kid, the smug-ass kid. So we talked about it in this episode, and I just missed a point that I wanted to bring up, that what I noticed about the PR that they've been running for this kid, whatever his name is, I forget, they keep conflating or keep saying that, oh, well, the kids' issue was that they were provoked by the Black Israelites, therefore it equals them getting into the face of Mr. Phillips. And I just want to point out that just because both the Black Israelites are people of, and Mr. Phillips are people of color, doesn't mean they're working on the same side. So I just wanted to point out that fallacy that keeps popping up with MAGA chuds and stuff. Anyway, in this episode, we do talk about the Covington kids off the top. Then we do Daddies Girls. We do a review of the movie Daddies Girls by Tyler Perry, starring Idris Elba and Gabrielle Union. It's terrible and tropey. And then we finally swing for the fences in our last segment. Is this racist? We talk about MAGA hats and the symbol. Why the symbol is racist for some people and just a plain old baseball hat for others. Okay, without further ado, let's get into it. Yeah, so, a couple weeks ago, this whole Covington High School. Does it sound different for you? I put up I'm building a mini studio, so there's less echo.
There's less echo for sure. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Right. Yeah, it sounds clearer.
Yeah, I just needed a pat on the back. It's my wife's idea.
No problem.
So the whole Covington High School thing happened a couple weeks ago, and then like a week or two before that, we had that Gillette ad, and people lost their fucking mind about toxic. Lost their mind about toxic masculinity.
Yep.
And what we saw with the Covington high school kids, and I don't want to dwell on it too much. I'm sure it's out of the news now, and the kids hired a PR agent. I'm sure their bid for the Supreme Court will happen. All those fucking white men, they'll be fine. It's just like it's weird. I don't know if it's weird, but it's like I've noticed that we can't have the conversation. To move forward about race or about sexism or about any of this shit,
social
or even
issues,
even about economics, because we're always stuck in this false equivalency. Like they hired a PR agent to say, oh, we'll see, fucking Black Israelites, they were the kids, racist.
Dude, that's fucked up. So the kids, their parents hired a conservative PR team to guide them through this mess.
Which I kind of understand, but I also think it's kind of like weird as fuck. But I kind of, if you're a racist, you better have some. I think everybody in the world needs a PR agent on their side at this
really?
point.
You don't think you don't think it's like the guilty already, calling their lawyers?
Well, because a girl posted a video of them because she was like, she was sick of the spin. And she was like, because there's a video of her walking down the street, and the Covington kids are calling her slut. They're like, "Hey, sluts!"
Right.
But then someone dug up her tweets, and she was like saying the N word when she was like 9. Like, so it's like everyone. It's just dirt everywhere, right?
There's dirt everywhere.
Just dirt everywhere. So I'm just like the way people apologize for these kids, and I guess they're kids, and they're allowed to be kids, and rightfully so.
Teenage,
right. They're rightfully, but at the same time, am I too harsh in thinking that white boys, and I say boys because I mean young men, need to be held responsible for their actions? I mean, like you made a great point. They were in MAGA hats. As soon as you're in MAGA hats, you're making a statement.
You've made your statement, right? Whether you get it or not.
Exactly. And at the same time, like I when I watch those kids, I'm like, oh yeah, I wasn't those kids, but I was an obnoxious piece of shit when I was in school.
Right.
I was obnoxious to people and adults and shit. I'm not like that, but I was a fucking idiot. So, but I would have been held accountable for my actions, I believe.
I got one for you. In junior high, was it junior high or high school or grade 9? Okay, so every teenager is trying to find themselves. So I was getting a lot into black movements. Okay, this is a false equivalency, but we were all finding our ways. There was a group of white kids who I knew. I don't know if I'd consider them friends, but we were classmates. They were close enough for me to be, hey, can I borrow your pen type of person like that, right? Yeah. They were starting to hang out with skinheads. That was a big thing. Like skinheads were making a comeback back then.
Yeah.
And I remember one of these guys wrote on his what do you call that? Cuff à crayon there, your pencil holder.
Okay.
He wrote, "Save a tree, kill a nigger."
Oh yeah, I've heard this one before.
Wait, the saying?
Yeah, no, yeah, I've heard that saying before.
That's okay. I remember seeing this, and that shit hurt my feelings. Right, I knew the dude, but I also remember telling myself that I don't think he understand what that actually means. Like giving him the benefit of the I think he was just like he was hanging out with older skinheads, and they were telling them shit that was, you know what? Yeah, these black people are asking for more privileges that they want. And then and he saw that statement, he wanted to be provocative and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, we confronted that kid. We, the teenage kids, confronted him, not the adults, whatever, right? But we confronted him, and did a fight break out? But, we let him know that, hey, our eyes are on you. Pull that shit again, whatever. But to answer your question, if you're a teacher and you see that on a kid's fucking apparel, should you intervene or should you don't grow out of it?
I think with like your situation too, like just speaking on that, I think there's that toxic element that happened where you like. And I don't know if it's toxic because it's like, I think it's kind of the right thing to do, but you gave him the benefit of the doubt. And I think that's what being white is. Especially when you're a white man, especially when you're a white kid, is the benefit of the fucking doubt. Like when Trayvon Martin was killed, I was debating white guys on this kid's actions.
Yes.
Oh, he punched George Zimmerman. I'm like, yeah, people punch shit. Or he smoked weed, and it's like, you're justifying murder because he smoked weed?
Yeah.
And that's the thing is like white kids. It's since you were a kid, since I was kid, since our parents were kids, are afforded the benefit of the doubt. They're allowed to be children.
They're allowed to be children.
And we look at like something like Satoya Brown, who like just talking to fucking someone the other day who was like kidnapped when she was a child. Like and sold into sex slavery, and then killed someone when she was a child to get out of sex slavery, and people are like, "Well, it's still wrong that she did that," and it's like, "What the fuck?"
Right? Okay, yeah. And then on the flip side, you got the kid who shot up the movie theater.
Yes.
During the premiere of Dark Knight, and he was captured in handcuffs. I mean, he shot. Everyone was victims in there.
And here's also my frustration of this conversation, right? Like, because it's like this is what goes with the Covington thing. It's like you and I know this shit. People who agree with us know this shit. We're just screaming at a goddamn wall. We look at the Covington school massacre, and then like people are like, well, they show those blackface. Oh, that was black, and people stand for these kids. They were just well, those blackface, and you made a mistake, and blah blah blah. It was not. It was. Excuse me. It was like it's the same. Like it's like that pack of kids. When you see that pack of kids, they had strength in their whiteness and their maleness. Yeah, as a group, they had strength in that shit, and now that strength has been multiplied across the world, right? Because now you got a group of people who are like we had someone get mad at us and unfriend us because of this shit.
Because of this, yes,
right? Because of this shit. So their pack gets bigger and bigger. It's like, oh, you're fucking right, and it's like maybe hold these kids accountable. Like, okay, well, you know what? Maybe you shouldn't be fucking screaming and yelling. Maybe some parents should have been there to take these kids away. What are they doing out here doing this shit, right? Like, there should be, and yeah, you can go after the black Israelites, but we don't know what the black Israelites are.
I want to be clear.
Exactly.
We are not members of the black Israelites. MRD podcast has no affiliation.
We're not connected at all. So, and also, if they were 10 white kids, do you think they would be confronting the black Israelites?
Yeah, I know, right?
And this is the thing is the group, the pack. It defends itself. So it like Sarah Huckabee Sanders came out and said something about how why would we treat children this way? And this is the same administration throwing children into cages.
Throwing children into cages.
Yeah, how can we condemn kids and how this? And this is my problem with the conversation again is like to point out the hypocrisy of these people. It's like. Is it hypocrisy? Is it like how you said about that kid writing kill a
save a tree,
kill a nigger? We're giving them the benefit of not knowing when maybe they know.
Yes,
because it's not a matter of because when I look at something, and maybe I'm being cynical, maybe I'm just become like one of these people, but it's not a matter of to me. It's not a matter of I didn't know I was hurting your feelings. It's more of, yeah, I want more power, or I want to keep my power, or whatever. That hurt your feelings. I'm sorry. No, it's no. You're right. I am powerful. And you see what happens when they know they're powerful. A group of white kids decide to face off against fucking. Against a native man and indigenous war veteran and black Israelites, which normally, if there wasn't that many of them, they'd be fucking scared as shit.
Yep.
And that's white supremacy in a nutshell. It's like it defends itself, it heals it. It's like this, and so yeah. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
No, just how all these kids were hyped up from a March for Life.
Yeah, that's another thing. They're there for a march for fucking take
pro,
away rights away from women. Yeah,
exactly, anti-abortion march. And I've seen these. This is so wild. I've seen one of these marches in Ottawa.
Yeah,
go through, and I remember seeing a girl, this lady. They were just walking through, just giving the whole, all these kids, the middle finger.
Yeah.
And I feel like telling them, come on, man, they're just kids. Come on, what are you doing? But if some of these kids would have walked in that march with a MAGA hat, I'm like, well, you just, you're no longer about, you don't give a fuck about the sanctity of life.
Yeah.
You're part of a movement that puts kids in cages.
Yeah, you don't give a exactly. You don't give a fuck
and you're
about
not and don't make plans for taking these kids and bringing them back to their parents.
Yeah.
Afterwards.
This is about fucking recruitment, not about saving kids.
It is about recruitment, not about saving kids.
It's not about saving kids. It's about keeping your numbers up.
Exactly. Pretty much.
And honestly, that's what white supremacy is, right? Because like anytime their numbers dwindle, what do they go? Hey, come on in, Italians. Hey, come on in, Irish.
Yep.
So the whole thing is based on power, right? And so and the genius of it, the genius of the system is what we saw. What went down was, all of a sudden it was like, hey, you guys didn't watch the whole thing. Huh? See,
right.
Ooh, the kids. Yeah. The racist kids that were still racist, that nothing changed. Like I saw so many articles about how it's like trust your eyes. It was what it was.
It was what it was.
Yeah, it's like trust your eyes, yes, when you broaden the scope of it, oh my God, there are black Israelites there, but the kids were still fucking racist as shit. They were doing tomahawk shock to the native guy.
Tomahawk shock.
And they were mocking him. Yeah, they were pieces of shit.
There's something to add. So Nathan Phillips, he was the elder. Indigenous elder, and I guess he was a Marine. Mm-hmm. But by the way, the conservatives are like discrediting this dude like a motherfucker. Anyways, in an interview, he talks about how when he was there, he can feel the sense of, okay, boys we have the numbers.
Yeah,
we have
that.
the numbers to start shit.
Yeah.
All we need is a spark, to make it happen. So in his mind, he goes, I'm used to I'm used to conflict.
Yeah.
I'm used to that kind of shit. So for some reason, my instinct was to let me see if I could calm this shit down.
Yeah.
Okay. And he did the drumming. And the thing is, when I saw the story about it started with these white kids with the black Israelites. I'm like Adrian Crunk, a comedian from Ottawa, who's in Toronto now. He's got this joke where he talks about when ignorant meets ignorance. Like, that's pure ignorance. And for Nathan Phillips to get in the middle of that shit to hey guys, I can picture myself doing. I wouldn't. Not for these white.
I just keep walking. I'd stand at a distance and watch the whole goddamn thing.
If it was like a Crip and Blood shit, I'd be like, "Come on, fellas, come on, seriously, man." Until I see weapons pulled out, then I'm like,
I would literally be laughing at watching white kids fight black Israelites.
Oh, for sure, dude.
That is one of the funniest fucking things.
That's a Christmas present. That's a Kwanzaa present right there,
like,
man.
The whole situation is hilarious. Like, it's like, oh, you're jackass kids that don't know better, and fucking black Israelites who don't give a fuck. It's hilarious.
Give a fuck.
My problem is everything around it, when like everyone's like spinning shit and everyone's like getting mad about, well, the blackface is like, come on, you go to fucking private school. You are fucking predominantly white. It's like 95% white. They have the testimonials from black students who've been bullied there. I've been to private school. I know what this shit is. I know what white boys do in these places. I know the hierarchies that happen in this fucking place. I get it. It's come on, stop it. Oh, we're Catholic and we're good Christian people. Fuck off with that shit.
Fuck out of here. Holy shit.
And what kills what I really wanted to get into was like not being able to deal with shit, because all we're in is the conversation. Like, we can't even have the conversation about the conversation.
We can't even have a conversation about the conversation.
Well, because like, what we need to do is like what the Gillette ad kind of. And I haven't really watched a lot of the Gillette. I watched a bit of it. It makes sense. It's like we need to go, okay, well, what's really going on here? Is this something that we need to address? They just came out with a statement that all the mass shootings, all the terrorist acts in 2018 were done by right-wing extremist groups, white men.
All these shootings in
2018 were all done by white men.
Wow.
Right-wing white men, extremist groups. And every time there's a shooting or a mass shooting or a school shooting or something like that, they're like, oh, it's crazy or depression. And it's like, okay, let's deal with that. Let's deal with what is going on. Let's deal with why these kids are like this. And it's like, no. It's so wrapped up in toxic masculinity and white supremacy. It's like, we can't let that shit go.
We can't let that shit go. Fuck yeah.
Well,
we're gonna focus on the problem than the solution.
Exactly. Even Trump is like gonna invite these kids to the White House, but he didn't say shit about the fucking kids getting shot in Sandy Hook or whatever it was.
Or Parkland.
Yeah, Parkland.
Yeah. Or that black dude that intervened in the shooting in a Waffle House.
Yeah.
He didn't get no invite to the White House. He didn't get shit.
And that's the thing, is like, okay, yes, let's sit here and condemn the black Israelites and make that all even. It's like the black Israelites shouldn't be part of the conversation. They're an extreme fucking
right.
It's just like, it shouldn't be. It's like, yes, that's what they do, and you just have to live with that and learn to live with that. But they're not normal. That's not the norm. They're an outlier.
Yeah.
What should be on display is how these kids act, and like, okay, so what the fuck is going on? That's what it should be. It's like, what is going on? Because there's clearly a problem. There's clearly, like, even as a white person, you should be like, okay, well, gun deaths, like, it's self-inflicted gun deaths are up. Suicide is up in the white community for white men. It's like, these conversations they don't understand that all of this is connected. All they do is protect it, and they fucking just get upset when you fucking call attention to it. But it's all connected to the same fucking thing.
It's all connected. See, what I love about this conversation, you helped me understand why I was feeling a little sense of depression. And it's just that it's as if we see this what happened with the Covington boys
on
camera.
Yeah.
And at first, everyone was on board with these kids are acting irrationally.
Yeah.
Right? And then the PR group came in, and these kids went from being these bad kids to martyrs, but the depression came from the fact that we were so close to figuring out solutions, and then we went back to realize, oh no, we can't. Well, hold on, holy shit, are we calling these kids racist? Come on, that's how would you feel if your boy
how would you
accused of racism? It's like it's as if we were coming together on a solution, and then someone fucked it. Someone like figured out a way to, hey, look over here, to distract us and look somewhere else. And the discouraging part is the fuck, like there is no hope for humanity if this shit keeps on. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. I completely.
It's like we're close to finding a cure for cancer, and then whoa, hold on a second, I need a better erection here. Fuck that.
Why do you gotta talk shit about cigarettes?
You gotta talk shit about
the fuck the cigarettes ever do? It's all distraction, and it's all like. You have like the symptoms of the symptoms of what is happening in North America or around the world, like the symptoms of fucking mass shootings, the symptoms of suicide rates, the symptoms of poverty, and this is all in that Covington shit. That just you can see what is going on with young white men and young men in general, but young white men, you could see what's going on, and with the Me Too movement, all that shit, and it's like that's a perfect time to go, what the fuck?
Yeah,
what the fuck is going on? Like because those kids, their opinions, their ideas, they had strength in being, they were backed up with each other, and then the school backed them up, and then the media backed them up, and then then all right wing chuds backed them up. So we're doing another movie. This is our fourth episode. We're at fourth episode. Wow. Doing. I know, we're so impressed with our effort. We're the fourth episode. This week's movie, we did a Tyler Perry. So this is not a white person explaining racism to white people movie. This is a black person. I kind of wrote down that this, if virtue signaling was a movie, this would be it would be this movie. It's called Daddies, Little Girls. It's written, directed, and produced by Tyler Perry. It's a 2007 American romantic comedy drama film written and directed by Tyler Perry and produced by Perry and Reuben Cannon. It stars Gabrielle Union, Idris Elba. The film is released on February 14th, 2007 by Lionsgate Entertainment. This is one of the only 3 films directed by Perry that does not appear in the in his list of church-based or his filmmaking stage plays.
What do you mean?
So he doesn't he's never done this in the church. Like most of his movies came from like a play he did with the church.
Oh, I see.
Which can, but there's like heavy church in this movie.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah,
there's
man.
there's
Sunday school shit. Right
it's like there's a whole. Anyway, we'll get to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get to the plot of it. Okay, so basically, Monty James, this is Idris Elba character. He has 3 daughters. He works at a mechanic shop. We don't know this, but he went to jail.
Right.
Eventually, his I guess his mother-in-law, or what would you call her? She was
the mother of his
girl's
baby mom.
Grandmother. The girl's grandmother is sick, and she dies like instantly. She has a cough. It's a Tyler Perry movie. You're done. He's that person's dead. Yeah, you're dead. You just coughed me. You're dead.
I'm going to die.
You're going to die by the end of this podcast. So she dies, and then the mother is like she's an a-hole from hell. She's just like evil personified. Yeah. So she's fighting for custody for the kids. Meanwhile, Idris Elba gets another job as he has to get another job because he has to pay for court fees to get these kids out. So he becomes a driver for Gabrielle Union, who's a no-nonsense business lady that doesn't have time for these type of no-good brothers that don't know how to brother properly. and
she's like a star in her firm.
Yes,
all that
she's worked her way up the ladder, but there's no brothers on her level and all that. And so she's her friends are trying to set her on dates, but they're all like the one was horseshit. And so eventually she decides to get involved with Idris Elba's case and take it on. But she has to do it after hours because he can't afford it.
Right.
So she gets drunk one night, and as Tyler Perry understands romance between heterosexual people,
you know what I mean? I'm glad you pointed that shit out. Yeah,
they fall in love by her vomiting in the toilet. So they fall in love, and then something happens. The mother of the kids is like involved with this gangster who's like terrorizing the neighborhood. And there's
I thought he was a rapper. Yeah, no, he's a gangster.
Yeah, he's a gangster. But like, and they fight and like they do weird wrestling fights and like kind of touch each other, but don't really. And then there's like this moment, like there's this Wire moment where they like have a community center moment where they're like talking about the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And the counselor can't do anything. And then Louis Gossett Jr., who's in the movie, Iron Eagles fame, he stands up and he's like, I lived in this neighborhood for 72 years.
Right.
I remember Dr. King came down the street. He walked. It reminded me of the scene from, do you remember Coming to America? I remember Dr. King. I ran to Dr. King. He punched me in the chest. I looked up and he was like, oh, I thought you were someone else. It was like the direct speech. And then he said some virtue signaling, respectability, politics shit. Like, we got to pull up our pants.
Right. We got to talk to the cops. We got to talk to the police.
We got to take over the neighborhood, Yeah. So then, so what happens, we'll get into all this. I'm sorry, I kind of ruined. So then what happens, blah, 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 Tyler Perry fashion. She finds out that he has a rape charge. He was charged with rape, which that flashback was my favorite flashback in any movie. About him, because it was a white girl was like, you raped me, and then the father came in and was like, did you rape her? And he's I didn't rape it. And it's like it's your perspective. And so anyway, so he was falsely accused. She breaks up with him. Gabrielle Union breaks up with him, and they're done because she didn't know that he's a rapist and she won't stand by a rapist. Turns out she finds out he's not a rapist because of the news. The news says, "Oh, you remember blah blah blah, Idris Elba? He was accused for rape that he didn't commit." Which I don't know any news that would have done that.
You know what I mean? But to her, she clicked on as, oh, he's another black man who's been falsely accused
of course, raping a woman in the And so he finds out when his youngest daughter is getting beat by the drug dealer. And so he's like goes outside and he has that swinging the fists Cuba Gooding Jr. Boys in the Hood moment.
Yeah, for real.
he's just swinging, and then he gets in his car and somehow he miraculously finds a drug dealer and his girlfriend, and he smashes the car and they get into a big fist fight, and then
the
whole neighborhood gets behind him, and then they help him, and no one's going to testify against the drug dealer, and they lose custody. He gets the shop, which suddenly Louis Gossett Jr. just wants to leave the neighborhood. I can't live here anymore. Just take it. And then everything's great. And Gabrielle Union's decided to, despite her friends, has decided to live with this man.
Her friends, they're all bougie, and I know you're not trying to get along with a driver.
But the one was really adamant. It's always the dark skinned one that's really adamant. It's dark skinned people just like, how can you?
Tyler Perry's got a reputation for making all his. I gotta check all his movies, but the making the villains dark skinned.
Yes. Yeah, they're very, because Gabrielle Union's pretty light skinned, and the one friend who's on Blackish, I forget her name, but she's really not, she's against, but she's not as adamant as the other one, who's dark skinned, who's just like, I don't know why you're marrying, and she's mad as shit. And I'm like, wait a second. Is this a universe where they don't know who Idris Elba is? Like, they don't know how good looking Idris, like, they look at him and go, oh fuck, he's ugly as shit.
Hey, they're big on class. Actually, that is a known issue. Like, there are a group of black folks who are very big on class.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I have a friend who got in trouble. He lived in Haiti, and he went to a club, and he asked the driver to come in with him, right?
Yeah.
And when he came back, and he told them how he hung out with the driver, they cussed out the driver. It's like, yo, you made our nephew look bad in front of all these people and shit like that. So that's why I was able to connect to that scene. Yeah, I was like, yeah, I get it. You're fucking...
Okay, let me just get the trope in this movie is called the sapphire trope. It's basically the sapphire trope portrays a black woman as rude, loud, malicious, and stubborn and overbearing. This is an angry black woman popularized in cinema and in television. She is tart-tongued and emasculating, one hand on her hip and the other hand pointing and jabbing, violently rhythmically rocking her head, mocking African American men for offenses ranging from unemployment to sexually pursuing white women. She also is like the independent woman who doesn't need a man and has done this her own. That's another trope that's very popular in black movies. Yeah. So what I didn't understand with like going back to like you were saying with the
just real quick, you forgot the term stuck up bitch.
Yeah, stuck up bitch. What I didn't understand is like they set her up with a dude from The Office. What's his name? And he didn't have a job. He was in his 40s. He couldn't pay for it, and they didn't mind him. And then
he wanted scripts. Yeah,
he wants scripts. He's trying to order scripts. And then when they were like Idris Elba, they got all serious. They're like, no, you can't. We set you up with a corny piece of shit, but you can't.
You know what I mean? Well, maybe it's all that glitter's not gold because he wears a suit.
Oh, true.
All kinds of shit like that. I bet you he goes to church on a regular basis.
Probably. There was a lot
of them big ass Bibles. So he must be
around his
guy.
neck. Like it's one of those hand sanitizer holding Bibles that you just squeeze the Bible and hand sanitizer comes out the bottom. There was a huge church moment in this movie where like people were like, ugh. It was a plot point. The church was an actual plot point.
It was a plot point. Okay,
Yeah.
First, I gotta say, I want you to be a little sensitive to. I'm a little nervous about criticizing a movie by Tyler Perry.
Why?
Because I'm convinced that he's got like all black churches unlocked. And then
he does.
And he's gonna hear this podcast, find my image, and he's gonna spread out for all the churches. And I'm gonna walk in, and they're gonna kick the shit out. They're gonna lock the door. This is for Tyler Perry, nigga. How dare you diss the man of God?
And they beat you with the cross, the white Jesus cross on the wall.
You know what I mean? I go for a baptism and never come back up. I'm just saying. That's why I'm going a little easy on this. Second, all of Tyler Perry's movies feel like a Sunday school sermon.
Yes.
A story from the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's very basic. Like I don't mean to shit on the Bible, but it is very basic. Like the characters the characters are so there's no grace in the character. They're just like they're like the mother is like, you better go out and earn money. Like, why do you want custody of these kids? Like you need to go out there and earn money. Like, what are you saying?
The mother's name, I think the character's name is Jennifer, but the real character's name is in real life is Tasha Smith, and the other dude is Gary Anthony Sturgis.
Okay.
Shout out to those guys, but yeah, they played an evil.
Yeah.
I'm sure they go to clubs and black people come up to them. How dare you fucking give a hard time to Idris Elba? It's a movie. It's a fucking movie. Their life must be hard after this shit. But they played that character. Yeah, they were mean people. Yeah,
but it wasn't just mean. It was like oh, you're like. Tyler Perry has this clumsy way of like he does this hack comedy thing too, like where like when dude's driving the car, she's like, I want to be quiet, and he starts beatboxing. It's like, why are you beatboxing
in the car?
It's completely out of character. And then he turns on the radio. It's like, but if she didn't like the beatboxing, why would she like the radio?
Agreed.
It's just so dumb. But like, but the mother and the thing was just like, why are they so evil? Like I don't, and like they're beating up the guy in the house. Like, why did you have to bring him to the house to beat him up?
I just want my little girls. I just want fuck you and your little girls. I can't wait to raise your little girls to be drug mules.
And then, I didn't.
All of the above, yeah.
Yeah, the Dr. King thing made me laugh, and it's a lot of respectability politics.
Yeah,
the kids, the fight with the kids. It's just he does. This is the thing I find about Tyler Perry, and I think I've talked about it before. He desperately wants to be mediocre.
Wow.
Like he
oh, we're gonna burn in hell for that one. Holy shit.
It's like we're talking against Jesus. I don't
you know what I mean? I'm just more scared of Tyler Perry than I am of Jesus. Ain't that a bitch? Okay, keep going.
But he really wants to be mediocre. Like he desperately tries to, like, you can see he's trying to, in his movies, that he's trying to be like your typical type of movie that he does, but he fails so spectacular. Like he's reaching to be mediocre. It's not funny. Like he's trying to be hack so badly, and he fails at it. And it's spectacular. It's why I enjoy watching them, because it's just like, what were you thinking? Who's enjoying this?
There's a running joke among white people. And I'm basing this on something I saw on the Cleveland show.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, come on, black people. You don't really like Tyler Perry movies. We only tell ourselves that we have to. You know? Well, come on, fellas. Be honest. You don't really like those movies.
I refuse to like them. I refuse to like them.
You refuse to like it? Oh, man, you're trying to get outcast. Okay.
Because the respectability politics, like the way they handle like race and class and sexism in this movie, like the way they handle class in this movie is so fucking. It's like, there's. You're talking about like the inner city, and you're talking about all this shit and all these people and these problems, and like the dude has to get a second job to pay for his kids and all. And like, well, why don't you talk about the court system? How fucked that is, and not the drug dealer.
Yeah,
the caricature of a drug dealer. Like it's so ham-fisted. It's so like just.
He keeps it. Dude knows his audience.
It's a church. It's a church audience.
Oh yeah, my folks love his movies.
Oh, do they?
Oh yeah, but yeah, for sure, definitely. I'm trying to get the but we can't have like these kind of conversations that we're having right now. But it's just like
blasphemous.
It's blasphemous. No, it's more like, you know. Oh yeah, it's just like it says in the Old Testament versus blah 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 blah. It's just a reason to pull out the Bible.
Yeah. Well, like there's so many clunky things in it, like which I love. Like I love like when the grandmother's sitting there, she's like, and she tells Idris Elba's character, "You didn't know I'm dying from cancer," and he's all shocked. But there's like a whole bunch of fucking pills in front of him. She's got her head tied up. She's coughing and sweating, and you're like, she's like, I got the cancer, and you're like, you didn't know that, Idris Elba? You were a detective. You don't know this shit.
Dude, I mean, you mean they weren't Advils? I thought it was just different brands of Advil. I wasn't paying attention.
They close in on her on all the pills the doctor gave her.
Fuck. She's dying.
She's dying. She's coughing in a Tyler Perry movie.
I will say this about this movie. The credit that I will give it is it helped me understand the meaning of trope.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I understood. I thought trope. Okay, I will tell you what I thought it meant before, but now, because I was watching it going, wait a minute, this is a black person interpretation of black people.
Yes.
How can it be a trope? And then I get it. Like, yeah, no, Tyler Perry was lazy and he reused ideas about black women that other movies have used or re-abused, like, you know, the strong black woman, the sci-fi.
Well, I mean, like, if you're writing, like you're saying how your parents are like, oh, it reminds of the Old Testament and shit like that. If you're rewriting that shit, that's all those things are. It's just tropes that people recognize from another thing. Yeah. It reaffirms a Jordan Peterson, right? It's like, well, these archetypes have been here forever, and this is how it is. And so, you know, so when your audience wants to have just like a basic, or not even, I don't think there's stupid people that will watch it. I just think it's like this basic belief in a system that supports a certain hierarchy, and you're just like, those drug dealers are bad, and Idris Elba was a hardworking black man. It's just trying to raise his kids, and it's just, it's you know, it's all garbage. It's all garbage. Yeah, to me, Tyler Perry's a grifter. Like that, I'll be honest.
A grifter?
Yeah, he's a con artist. He's a con artist. He's made a lot of money.
Like every other preacher.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's made a lot of money playing to an audience that wants to hear that kind of stuff.
Yes, very much so.
I guarantee he's got some skeletons in the closet.
That involves dressing up as a woman. Oh, no, for sure. Most dead. Hey, he owed Damon Dash some money. I think he paid him back.
Yeah.
But there's a clip of Damon Dash going, I want my money, like millions of dollars.
Yeah, I heard about that, yeah.
Oh, was it Tyler Perry? Was it I'm mixing the wrong guy. Oh, sorry, wrong black guy.
Yeah, who was it?
The dude from Precious there, that Inside, who made.
Oh, yes, I know you're talking about. Yes, yeah. The director.
Here's the thing, okay, and I feel like I'm explaining this to white people, but really I'm explaining it to myself. And the problem with the strong black woman trope. In the other think piece you gave me to read, the 6 annoying tropes of black women.
Yeah.
The word they use is controlling images. Now, what happens is a lot of black girls watch movies like these and tell themselves, "This is how I'm supposed to behave."
Yeah, this is
because I'm a black person.
Yeah, this is the right way you're supposed to act.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you yeah, this is the appropriate way to act, and this is the wrong way to act. You know what I mean?
Right. Kind of like same for black dudes. Don't be using full sentences.
Yep.
Don't be put your pants down.
Yep.
You better know how to play basketball. You better have a criminal record. All that kinds of shit.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What's interesting is Gavin and I think we initially bonded on the fact that we weren't the black people on the screen.
Exactly.
You mean I could be myself around you? Really?
You could, yeah, it's too much work. It's too much effort to play these characters.
You know what I mean? Holy shit.
To be in this, okay, so we're getting close. I guess this is going to be 25 minutes. This because we're getting close to 20. I just wanted to say that the whole rape scene was one of the highlights to me because it in any other movie I would just take it, like it would be like okay, but in a Tyler Perry movie, the fact that the victim of that whole accusing him to be a rapist was white.
Right.
It's so heavy-handed, and it's such a virtue signal. It's like, come on, know who your audience is. You know what you're playing. Oh, of course, the white girl accused him of rape. You know.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
It's such a shitty, lazy way to deal with the. Do you know what I mean? To like put a plot point to like have her turn on him, which is it's the. Every fucking romantic kind of comedy has that moment where the girl's working with him and then he does something in the third act and she turns on him and goes, I can't believe you're like this and blah, blah, blah. And then they have that moment where they're separated and then they get back together over something that he learned. But it's the same shit and it's such a lazy way. It's a perfect example of him desperately trying to be mediocre. It's like, it's just, you put a rape thing there.
Hey man, his audience kept on to it, man. That's like, see, I told you not the best with the white bitches.
Also,
you know what I mean?
How many women in this movie have to be abused? Like you got one dying to move the plot forward. You got girls being beaten to give him a point. You got another woman getting raped for it. Like it's so many fucking women are being used as just plot points in this movie to move shit forward, just so he can move forward. It's
holy shit. I think the Bible does the same thing.
You think?
I think. Holy shit. So, when you explain it like that, what the fuck?
Adam and Eve. If I was a woman, I don't even understand how I could be religious with Adam and Eve.
I'll be honest. I'm not sure. Okay, your experience in watching the movie, like you were able to analyze, come up with all these thoughts while watching the movie?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because I watched this movie a long time ago, but also with Tyler Perry, I've watched a lot of his movies.
Okay, so you are used to it. Okay, so because I watched it and I was like drawn into it. I was immersed in the movie.
Oh, really?
I was with my cousins, in their basement, watching this church movie. It's either that or go upstairs, talk biblical shit or
see. But you have a whole world around it. Like you came from a world.
Exactly. Oh, the other thing too is I'm watching this movie and I feel like I've seen this before. So either shit was predictable as fuck, Tyler Perry, or I've seen it but I just can't remember.
Yeah.
Then I was high too, so that's also a factor. Being immersed.
I'm shocked that you were high during this movie. I'm shocked you were dealing with your PTSD during this movie. Okay, what's your top? What's your best and worst moment in this movie?
That's a good question. Okay, best moment in the movie. Shit. I got to think about that one. Best.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My favorite moment was, I would say, Louis Gossett Jr.'s speech, because it just made me laugh. Made me think of Coming to America. Dr. King used to come down here. It's just like, it's so typical, like Dr. King. Of course, Dr. King. Of course, you used, like, in any other movie, it would have been fine. But it's just another moment of him reaching for mediocrity. And then the worst part of this movie is the whole that fight scene in the house, where it's just like, what? And the girls are screaming, and I was just like, what's going on here? What? When they were beating up the drug dealer that didn't have $800
right, the
bucks.
dude wasn't money. Yes, yeah. that was kind of messed up. I don't know if I want to say this is my best one. But
sorry, just my last point to that. I think they needed like a. It was so villainous. If they were petting cats, like if they were like on a spinning chair petting a cat, and it was like that. If they did that like that, because it's like, girl, you take care of this. You failed again, Mr. Bond. It was like that level of evil. All right, go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. You know what? Okay, without overthinking it, I'm gonna say, okay, I like the introduction of Gabrielle Union's character.
Okay.
From the doorman being, oh shit, well,
the white guy,
the white doorman,
yeah.
Oh, you for a treat, buddy. You think your women are difficult to handle? Wait till you see this black chick. but the over exaggeration, he's got the toothpick in his mouth.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, oh, I hate this job. Then he sees his, mouth drops. Open the door, nigga. Anyway, so I like that scene. I don't know if I would say the highlight, but
what's your worst part of it? Yeah,
I'm this one, I'm not sure what category to put this, but remember when Idris Elba's character had enough? And he goes, look, get a man. Get a man.
Yeah, get a man, get a life. Get a man, get a life.
Get a man, get a life.
That hit her hard.
Exactly. That hit her hard. Yes, exactly.
Get a man, get a life.
Yeah. No. Okay, my favorite movie when she comes to his rescue, the court case.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. Hey, quick rating, half a middle finger because it's a Tyler Perry movie.
I'll give it the full middle finger.
Full middle finger.
Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying this episode. If you are, do me a favor. Go to iTunes right now. Leave a comment. Leave a rating. It'll help us out so much. Hey, also, if you want to follow us on social media, that'd be great. You can follow us on Twitter at MRD Podcast, on Facebook at Master Race Debaters, and on Instagram at MRD Podcast. We're also on YouTube. If you got comments and suggestions, or just want to drop us and say, hey, fuck you guys, you can email us at masterrdpodcast@gmail.com. Yes, we'll take your emails. We'll respond. Trust me. We got nothing better to do. Anyway, here we go. Without further ado, me and B Black getting back into it.
So today in Is This Shit's Racist?
Yeah.
I actually had okay. Related to the first segment, the MAGA hat.
Oh, the MAGA hat.
America Great Hat.
What's wrong with it?
Why can we not see eye to eye on this shit? So, in the earlier segment, we were talking about the, what is it called? The Covington boys?
Yeah, the Covington Catholic.
Covington Catholic student boys.
High school kids.
The future of America. The future interns, run our politics and shit like that. Future rapists. Future mass shooters. Anyway, so
Kavanaugh's.
Okay, this relates to a conversation we had, or a spill we had on the message board.
Yeah.
So when the incident happened, I remember seeing these kids with red hats, with MAGA hats, face to face with this Native American guy.
Yeah.
And the story came out about how these kids are being rude with this Native American guy. Everyone was on board. Even conservatives were like, "Yo, these kids are a piece of shit. Should be ashamed of their parents in Jesus' name." Whatever, Even they were pissed off.
Yeah.
Then I'm flaking on the details. Someone hired a PR team, and they managed to convert the situation. They managed to change it to a us versus them situation, in the sense that, hey, that Native American guy actually started the fight. Those white kids, that white kid, his name is Nick
Sandman. Sandman.
Anyway, yeah, it was Nick and Sant, whatever. He managed to convince the public that I was there to appease the situation.
He's got that face of like that fucking Brock Turner kid, like that. I'm raping a woman behind a dumpster. My bad.
Exactly.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Exactly. Yeah. He looks like the kind of kid who brags about sleeping with women that he roofied.
Yeah,
Anyway,
exactly. He 100%.
100%. All right, so he's telling the public that he appeased the situation, and then they talk about how, it was the black Israelites who started the fight. You get to hear him say a whole bunch of fucked up shit. Like even curse words.
We cover what happened because in the first segment. So
the point that I was getting at is I was locked on to that hat.
Yeah,
the hat told me everything I needed to know. So everyone was like, I'm being approached by these white racists telling me, hey, did you see the whole video? Huh? Did you see the whole video? The 1 hour, 40-minute video. Did you see the whole shit? Because they'll help you.
But they were like, basically, it's like the hat is like, you have a problem with people thinking that the hat isn't a problem.
Exactly. People are acting like the hat doesn't factor into the equation.
Did they do that with kids. Did they do that with other racist symbols? They did it with the Confederate flag for a bit, didn't they?
Oh yeah.
See, the white supremacists, they love excusing racists, like Sir Johnny McDonald. They're like, why take it down off native schools? I don't know, because they murdered them. Yeah, but that was so long ago. Everything's so long ago, or everything's long ago, or everything's just a flag, or just a hat, or just a.
Yeah. Okay. I think what bothered me about the story is, you know what hasn't changed since now in slavery, since now in slavery, the first encounter with the European and the African, is white people telling themselves that racism isn't as bad as these black people make it out to be.
But it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. And that's what and so
if I don't have to deal with racism, it's not that bad. It's like I got both my hands, so I don't see how not having one hand would be that bad.
Can I?
I barely use my left. If I lost my left, it'd be fine.
So can I tell you? Okay, I'm gonna tell you a quick story, right?
Yeah.
Again, going back to high school, back to high school, right? During the LA riots, our teacher had us. One of their teachers decided to talk about it with the class, of a round table conversation about that shit, right?
Mm.
And I think she was scared too. It's like, oh fuck, okay, look, race riots upon us, whatever.
Oh god, I don't want to riot in here.
It was, right. I remember, I was in class, minding my own business, and one of my classmates, we were all excited about the riots. Yeah, and everything like that, right?
Yeah.
I remember one of my friends passes in front of the class, goes, hey, yo, babe. I'm in class, minding my own business. He shows the article, he points, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we won, or some shit like that, and he walks away. Then the teacher goes, I guess you've all heard about the riots, and blah, blah, blah. And then she starts talking about the riot. And, okay, I'm all over the place, but this is the only point I'm trying to make is, I don't remember shit about that conversation except this one white kid. Again, another white kid who's been hanging around with skinheads and getting all kinds of new ideas about being white and these colored folks fucking up the system for him. He says,
"Is it the same kid?"
No, a different kid.
Oh,
you know what I mean? But they were hanging out too. This is a different kid. Yeah, no, we had a skinhead problem back in my high school.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Sounds like you can't. It's like no, and then next week you're gonna tell a story about a skinhead kid at your high school, but it's gonna be a different kid.
But he says, don't you think it's kind of weird for someone to capture the whole thing on video, to have a VHS ready right when this happened? Mm-hmm. Basically, he was implying that Rodney King and the guy who filmed this situation, plotted the whole thing, Rodney King, asked for created a situation where the cops would beat the shit out of him in front of that VHS camera. Now, Gavin, I'm going to keep it real with you. For a split second, I considered what he was saying. I was telling myself, wow, if what he's saying is true, fuck, that's embarrassing. We're rioting for nothing.
Yeah.
We're rioting over bullshit and stuff like that. But I let it slide. But what made me, it's only today that I realized that kid was introducing me to the real racism. not people calling you the N-word. No, basically gaslighting. Is that the word? Basically, he was trying to say that, look, racism is not as bad as these black people make it out to be. Those riots are bullshit. Police don't usually act that way. This is like an exceptional situation going on here. Whatever's going on, don't feel bad for the dude who just got beaten, and don't feel bad for these black people rioting, burning down their own neighborhoods and all kinds of stuff. So when people came back to me with, hey, did you see the full video?
So what you're saying is the MAGA hat is a gaslight. Is that what is like that's basically a gaslight?
The MAGA hat is the gaslight. It's the one dude when the story came out.
Well, let's talk about like the idea of the MAGA hat and like in how how the right, I guess, has denied it as racist, but they also denied Trump. Even liberals have denied Trump. It's the MAGA hat lives in this benign state, kind of, where people are like, well, it's a political view.
It's a political view,
and,
right?
And so people can deny that it's connected to racism, whereas people of color completely see it as a threat and an attack. Like it's an instant. I'm not saying white people don't. I'm just saying it's mainly white people who don't see it as a problem. Whenever a person doesn't see it as a problem, they're always white. Right?
Whenever someone doesn't see it as a problem, I mean, I know some black Trump supporters who will
they're a Trump supporter, right? Like,
or they're a Trump supporter, or they wish they were white. Yeah.
But like, this is the thing is like, why don't they see it as a problem? Or what are they missing? What are they missing about racism that they don't see?
Correct.
I'm asking as I'm wondering if they're because in the first segment I was saying how I don't think things are done by I don't think these things are accident about I didn't know I was hurting your feelings. It was more of I want my power. In this situation, Is it just to deny any like does racism exist at all, and what is racism to them? I think is what I'm asking.
What is racism? I have this theory that there's two kinds of racism, or there's three. There's the racism that you hear about, and there's the racism that you go through.
No, I don't mean that. I mean for them, for people who say that like this dude that unfriended us and called us bigots because we said the MAGA hat is a racist hat, and
right.
Why if they don't see the racism in that in most things, what is racism to them?
What's that word? Willful ignorance. That's what it. I think
is it willful ignorance, or is it just like? Cause is it their
like Trump said, Mexico sends in their worst rapists and drug dealers. I mean,
but is that ignorance, or is that just like a willingness to not? Here's my problem, because at this point, like. There's so many things on Trump that's racist. Even I asked this guy in the thread. I'm like, okay, so it says make him. I said this is the reason why most minorities don't like it, because "Make America Great Again" means that if you go back in time, even 5 years ago, things weren't great for most minorities. Like even 5 years ago, gays couldn't marry. So it's like it's a regression of rights. He couldn't answer. And when here's my thing is. It's not willful. It's not ignorant to go, okay, well, this is not racist, because it's clearly there. It's clear if you can clearly. I mean, I can clearly see it. So my question is it has to be a question of what is racism to these people to go, okay, well, the MAGA hat isn't racism. There was no answer from him. He just got. I'm just wondering what is. I'm wondering what is racism to a person who thinks the MAGA hat or MAGA hat isn't racist. Like, what is racism to someone like Kanye West? Do you know? Because Kanye West, even if Kanye West was trolling us, he doesn't think the MAGA hat is racist. Right. He thinks we're overreacting.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm wondering what is racism to them? How do they see that hat?
Yeah. Well, maybe if it said "Make America Great, Get Rid of the Niggers," Oh, whoa.
But even
that's
that, because I mean, he said all these countries are shitholes, and why can't we get more nice Europeans coming in? Like he says some like it's just racist shit. I don't care how you can deny it, like because this dude called us bigots based on us thinking the hat was racist. So their level of bigotry is very minor.
Or
very
so
low.
There's that dude, but there's another part who think that, hey, you people see racism everywhere. It's as if racism was a word we created to inconvenience white people.
Yeah, see, I see what you're saying, but I'm like, that logic doesn't make sense to me.
That logic does not make sense.
Because there's something else underneath it to go, you see racism everywhere. It's like, that doesn't, like, this...
You know what's interesting is, if that logic made sense to you, you'd be them.
Yeah, exactly. I get you. You're right, but I mean, it can't make sense to them either, because it's like, oh, you see racism everywhere, which I guess could. That phrase is a great way of making whites, of getting neo-Nazis and shit to make. They're great at making themselves mainstream. That's a phrase that makes neo-Nazis mainstream, right? Like to get a lot of people. Oh yeah, you do see racism everywhere. And all these SJWs are out of control. It's a great way to mainstream white supremacist ideas, but their whole here's the problem. Like that idea, that talking point is from white supremacists. Like you see racism everywhere, but it's also they see racism everywhere, right? Like white supremacists' whole thing is racism.
The whole thing is racism.
It's about racism. And they just changed the word. They know how bad it is. They just changed the words on it. My thing is if to deny the MAGA hats racism in the connection to Donald Trump, it feels more of like, oh, I'm just contrarian because you're saying something opposite.
I'll even go to. I'll tell you what. I'd be willing to. I'll tell you what. If we ban the word racism, for the sake of these snowflakes, I love it, right?
Yeah.
And just say, yo, you wear that MAGA hat. You're telling the world I'm an asshole.
Yeah.
Whatever. I plan on telling you whatever opinion you tell me that I don't like. I plan on refuting it fanatically.
That's what's happening. But here's the culture. It's a culture war, because here's what's happening is they're tying the people who call people MAGA hats with people who don't like Louis C.K., with the university kids that complain about too many genders. Or who want everyone who wanted. They've created a culture of an identity, and that's what they're rebelling against. So it's not. They can't. They have to deny. They have to deny facts because they've tied all of it together with let's face it, SJW. But what happened is the Overton window has pushed them so far right that now they're so close to Nazis, they're sharing the goddamn talking points. They can't even point out obvious, this dude can't even point out obvious racism. The media can't point out obvious racism because they want to both sides things. They want to seem fair, and they want to seem. So to look at a hat and go, well, no, it's a political idea. We're so in shock that that they elected a white supremacist that we have to take something like "Make America Great Again" and legitimize it. And this is the problem, is then you get fucking chuds like Chudley the Chud face on Facebook calling us bigots because we're like, no. And then people chime in and go, actually, it is. He's done this, this, and this. And it's just like, I'm going to... No, but black people wear it too. It's like, okay, what does that mean? You showed us photos of black people wearing... I accused him of not knowing black people, and he posted photos from a clip art or a clip of black people wearing MAGA. It was like it wasn't even. He didn't even have the "I have a black friend." He's like, I have a black clip art.
You have a clip art.
My black clip art tells me.
If I was racist, would I have black people on my hard drive?
Yeah, would I have?
Checkmate,
oh, it's not on my hard drive. I wouldn't want to contaminate my computer like that. So fucking. But you know what I mean? Like, so he's rebelling against the idea of censorship and really it's kind of tied into toxic masculinity, because it's all like, cause we're pussies, we're fucking, we're pussies and we're like we're cucks and we're soy boys and we're on that side and it's so much tribalism. Nobody they don't want to be on a side. They want to be on the tough, manly side, the other side of Gillette.
Homeboy, it's funny you say that, right? But I want to be on the tough side, on the manly side.
Oh yeah, because I do too. Everybody, because we grew up in this society.
Right. But I still remember. Okay, so there's the Gillette commercial, but there's a Canadian company who made a similar commercial about, hey, guys, stop being assholes, kind of thing like that. And one of them was, and these was, they were talking to high school kids. One of the scenes were, hey, I think your boyfriend is cheating on you. Yeah. Like, he confronted the girl. You know how the code among men, if your girl calls me and says, hey, were you out with Gavin? I'm supposed to say, yeah, I was. Because I'm assuming that's what you thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you
As
got
opposed
my back.
to be like, exactly. But now there was encouraging men to be like, fuck that code.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't defend. And I remember seeing that commercial. I'd be like, hey, man, don't tell me what to, you trying to destrow the bro code?
Yeah, you're
fuck
trying
that.
to,
It's like,
well, it's broke. Exactly, right? Like, it's so prevalent. Here's the problem. It's the marketing is changing, I guess. I guess they're switching up marketing or whatever. I think the MAGA hat's tied into all of that. I think what happens is there's no nuance in discussions anymore. It's
right.
my team versus your team, and then
my team versus your team.
And the problem is, if you're on one side, on one team, you're against these fucking SJWs and you know what's good, how comedy's being ruined, and you're tired of this toxic masculinity. And and maybe there are like issues of where it's overboard, but you have to reject everything.
Yep.
You have to reject everything. So that includes like something like a MAGA hat where you're like, well, there is xenophobia. Like as soon as you're saying you want to ban Muslims, it's like, come on, I got to debate this shit with you. Like make America great again, and what all his supporters are white. Why do you think that is? Like I have to debate this shit because it's a culture war, and that's what they don't see. And that's why they also can embrace Confederate flags again. Give it time. The swastika will be back. Like, what's so wrong with it?
What's wrong with the swastika?
I don't know. I think people are overboard with this shit.
Actually, do you see this? There's this, I'm surprised this didn't catch fire here. There's a video of this dude, this Asian dude. I think he's with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
And he had England? A swastika.
Yeah.
In England. He had a swastika, but he was like a Buddhist, and he was using that for that symbolism, right?
Yeah.
A whole crowd of people came up on him. So, yo, you're a Nazi? You're not?
Yeah.
I don't know if the dude even spoke English, whatever, right? He's confused. Why am I? The cops had to come in to save the dude and say, hey, look, and escort him away because the mob. But I'm surprised, like the right didn't use this. Fucking lefties. They're about to mob this, the whole. But my only point is, when it does come back, they're gonna play I'm a Buddhist. Fuck that. Yeah, it's not about racism. I'm trying to be a Buddhist there.
My thing about that too is like, is yes, it's horrible. Yes, it's like an overboard reaction. Like it's too, but their heart's in the right place. Like they're against anti-Semitism.
There we go. Oh yeah, yo, that audience was a multicultural crowd. That's what was beautiful about it.
It was wrong.
The mob was multicultural.
It was wrong, and they shouldn't have done it. But it was like it wasn't like they were attacking someone out of horrible, hateful shit. They were attacking hate. And I don't know. I mean, I'm not justifying. I'm just saying that
I'm not justified. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not justified. I won't be surprised if the story makes a comeback because it's an old story. You heard it here first. I'm already podcast, but I guess I don't want to talk about mom mentality, but I mean,
we did that. All right, I think we hit 21 minutes. I think
we did hit 21 minutes.
This is the episode. This is episode 5. We finished it.
Okay, you don't want a conclusion, wrap it up or something like that?
Why? Do I usually have I think we just go. All right, and I think it's kind of we just roll off the body and just go on our merry way.
They go on our merry way. Okay, all right. I'm not sure what my point was, except for why can't the world can't see eye to eye on this motherfucking hat. Jesus Christ.
That's the.
Oh, and that's what you were saying, but then the tribalism aspect is okay. Yeah, no, we're good.
We're good. All right.